Morning, Chris. Let's talk about post-secondary education in Alberta. But by way of introduction for everybody, Chris Tesarski is CEO and president of Solvaqua Inc., an energy-related uh, clean water or clean tech company, international company based in Calgary. Chris, post-secondary education in Alberta, it's interesting where that seems to be going. Uh, Don Braid wrote an article in the Calgary Herald the other day, and he was suggesting that the Kenney UCP government was going to change the funding of colleges and universities. And I'm mostly concerned about the universities. They were going to tie the funding to skills development and the success of graduates of the universities. I'd like to get your view on that. Do you want to tell me what your thinking is on this?
Well, it's a family, rated video, Tron. So I won't tell you my whole feelings on this. Look, I've put two sons through university, and I couldn't be more proud. One is serving on our front lines as a nurse at the Children's Hospital here in Calgary, and the other is an advanced mathematics teacher for the CBE. These are two young men who went through college. I was able to certainly give them support, but they also had to get some student loans there and came through with their degrees. And what would that look like now for this government? Well, this government would say, well, we don't really need any more nurses. We're trying to get rid of the ones that we have. So I'm not really sure if we can sort of fund my son's nursing education. And the other one, well, sure. I mean, teachers, do we really need them? I mean, could we get the big blue from IBM or whatever to teach our kids now and make them pay for their education, because we see that the sort of the pay to play model is one that works very well in, let me think, no jurisdictions that are basically in the developed countries around the world. But that's where this government is headed. Tron, you saw the same Braid article that I did with the little penguins, the snow penguins, all set up with their signs, supporting the teachers, supporting the professors and the students. And what does infrastructure do? Well, they come and kick them down, right? Which is really what the government is doing. And we talked about this before, Tron. It's a cash grab. Jason Kenney's now able to nickel and dime the students and their families, parents, hardworking Alberta parents that are sending their kids to school. We found out a tweet just late last night before I went to bed. A student's online trying to look at their education account, and they can't claim the education tax credits anymore. They can't claim the education tax credits for their post-secondary education. Look, I lived in conservative Texas, okay, for 5 years, and after that in Denver, with conservative Republican governments in place. There's tax credits all over the place there for education. We talked before, Tron, about a 22nd century Alberta and a 22nd century economy. Has this government lost it that badly that they think that nickeling and diming the wallets of Alberta parents and Alberta families to send their kids to school now is the next place to go? Really, if I might use an educational analogy, they've become the schoolyard bully. They're taking our lunch money away from us and going and chuckling with their little gang there off in the corner of the schoolyard. Look who we ripped off today. Another group of people now. It's the nurses and it's the doctors and it's this, and now we're going to take money out of our parks and we're going to give it to Australian coal mining companies. And now here we are. What's the next thing? It's the bank accounts and the wallets of hardworking Alberta families now. They're going to take the next hit. So Kenney can use this fictitious spreadsheet of his to show how much money that he's taking back against this debt that we have that apparently was caused by Rachel Notley over 4 years. Okay, prior to that, everything was going great. We could go to the ATM anywhere, anytime we wanted, apparently, with Jason Kenney's predecessors before Rachel. It's nonsense, Tron, and it's complete folly. And we've got to stop it. If we are going to succeed as a province, We have to be educating our students in higher education in all kinds of different disciplines. And to tie that somehow to jobs in Alberta, well, what's that going to look like? We're gutting the teachers, we're education, we're gutting healthcare. Okay, so there we go. Those two obviously don't apply. We've canceled innovation in this province. We're closing down the innovation and research parks, Trond. So there we go. Why bother with that? So it looks like petroleum engineers will probably be getting a full ride at university by this government, and anybody else in the trades that are somehow related back to oil and gas. That's great. Okay. And as these guys are the last ones left in the province turning the lights off, that should be very, very interesting for future generations and future economy in this province. You and I both know it's not going to work. This is some fictitious accounting that's going on so that they can show they're moving numbers around to make the books balance, because they don't know what they're doing. And Albertans aren't going to stand for it, Trond. They're not going to stand for dirty water going in for the coal mines. They're not going to stand for their family doctor leaving the province to go to Saskatchewan, of all places, to practice medicine. As Regina's population is going up and they're getting more and more people from Alberta, it's not going to keep happening, Trond. And people are going to remember what this government has done. They're going to remember that time in the schoolyard when the bully Jason Kenney comes and takes their lunch money from them. Okay, and they're going to remember these things, and we've got to put a stop to it. This cannot continue. Every single day, this government gives us fodder, okay, to show their incompetence. And this is just another example. Deborah Yedlin. Deborah Yedlin is quoted in this article by Don Braid saying, I don't think this is a good plan. Okay, so if Deborah Yedlin, okay, who the last time is checked is not a Rachel Notley disciple and or a tree hugger, okay, is saying that this is bad news, Jason Kenney, okay, and you need to rethink your plan, I'm good. I'm just going to let Deborah Yedlin speak for the vast majority of us that say this government has no plan, Tron. They're in for short-term cash grab. They're going to do the little dash around the playground, taking as much kids' lunch money as they possibly can and laugh about it with their bully friends over in the corner of the schoolyard. And that's what they're doing. And you know what? Eventually somebody stands up to the bully. Somebody stands up to the bully, and Albertans have had enough, and they're getting tired of this government's daily incompetence. They're getting tired of the private jets to Hawaii and, you know, going for all these things. People are done. And in the meantime, we're robbing the piggy banks of Albertans who are working hard to send their kids to, you know, here's the thing. The Conservatives on the far right often, and I'm a moderate conservative, Tron, you know that. You've known me for years. You know that that's the side that I sit on. I want to see books balanced. I want to see the proper spreadsheets and the proper accounting and accountability. But here's the thing. The far right is often going to say, oh, they criticize the ivory tower, right, of the liberals. Okay, well, here's the interesting thing. And I'm not saying I'm on that side for sure. But a lot of the liberals that we like to poke fun at and kick around, okay, on the schoolyard are telling us they want everybody to go to university. They want everybody to get an education, a free education in whatever you want to do. So you tell me how that's elitist liberal. That doesn't make any sense. Here we have a right-wing, crazy conservative government with no plan, okay, call themselves that. And they want to pick and choose the winners. Well, we've seen how well that's worked for them in the corporate world, haven't we, Tron? Okay, we've seen the winners and losers that apparently they're so good at picking over the last few years while they've held the purse strings in this province, and that's gone really well for us, hasn't it? One of the biggest benefactors is left and gone to Denver. So how can we trust them to pick who the winners and losers are going to be coming out of our post-secondary institutions? No. We need to be opening up higher learning for every student in this province that wants to go to school. And we need to make that economically feasible for them, because that's the only way that we're going to have a 22nd century Alberta that's actually going to survive, and we won't have to turn the lights out. And that's the way that we're going to drive an economy in this province that works and bring people here. We are doing everything in Edmonton right now in our power in that legislature via Zoom, you know, for the most part, to scare people away from this province, to scare them away. And this is just another example, kicking the ice penguins and robbing the piggy banks of parents who are trying to send their kids to university and get a tax credit for doing that because they're proud of their kids. They want to see their kids have a successful future, and they want to see that successful future here in Alberta. This is a great way, Trond, it is to kick the little ice penguins and send every student rushing away from this province to go study anywhere else but in Alberta. And to me, that's just, again, a short-sighted cash grab on behalf of this government to do their creative accounting that they always like to do to show how they're going to save a bunch of money. Again, I think Albertans have had it. I'm a parent of 2 kids who will be going to university very soon, and I've had 2 go through. I got grandsons who will go to university. Why? Because I taught my kids the value of education. And they will go to school and they will get an education in whatever they want to do because they are going to be successful members of our community and our province who help drive us forward to the future. I get very passionate about this issue, Tron, because I'm a parent and I believe in Alberta's post-secondary education institutions, and we need to be supporting them, not kicking the little ice penguins down for the sake of robbing Albertans' pockets.
Yeah, and you know, you and I have talked about this many times over the last many years, and you know, I know that your thinking is so solid on education and you know, growing Alberta. You know, Chris, I really want to thank you for talking about this. And we're going to talk about it more as well.
Yeah,
I really appreciate your input on
it's a big topic, Trond, and
is.
obviously this government has no control. And when somebody like Deb Yedlin is saying they don't, I'm in her corner all the way. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And clearly there's going to be an election at some point in time in Alberta. And as I know you've put in Twitter a number of times in your accounts, it's hashtag Be Ready Alberta.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We don't need to get ready. We need to be ready now. And when
exactly.
you kick the little ice penguins down, I think Albertans are definitely ready. So.
You bet. Chris, let's do it again real soon.
You bet. Thanks a lot, Trunk.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.